company that could signal a lot about where the economy is headed. It is engine manufacturer Cummins. They are trading higher today. They had record full-year revenue.
Everyone thought electric vehicles were the final answer to clean transportation until Cummins unveiled something no one expected. Not a battery, not a fuel cell, but a revolutionary engine that is clean, powerful, and shockingly efficient. This is not science fiction. It is real. And it is already shaking the foundations of the EV world. If you thought diesel was dead and electric was inevitable, think again, because this new clean engine may just rewrite the future of transport forever. The legacy behind the breakthrough. Cummins has always been a name that meant power and reliability, but now it means something much more. Born in the small town of Columbus, Indiana in 1919, the company began with a simple ambition to build dependable diesel engines, and over the next century, it quietly built one of the most respected legacies in heavy vehicle manufacturing. Claus Lyle Cummins, the man behind the name, was not just an inventor, but a visionary who believed diesel could change the world. His early prototypes were met with skepticism, and the market was dominated by gasoline, but he persisted. In a daring move, the company sent one of its diesel-powered trucks across the country from New York to Los Angeles, proving that diesel was not just powerful, but dependable over long distances. That journey changed everything. What began as a garage project turned into a global powerhouse. During World War II, Cummins engines powered countless military machines, earning the trust of the US government and paving the way for industrial dominance. By the 1950s, Cummins had already become a household name in the world of transport and heavy machinery. They expanded beyond America into Latin America, Europe, and Asia, making their engines a global standard for trucks, buses, trains, and ships. In India, they partnered with Tata and launched Tata Cummins in Pune, revolutionizing the trucking industry across the subcontinent. This partnership showed the world that Cummins was not just about building engines, but about building relationships that fueled economies. But Cummins never stayed comfortable. While competitors stuck to what worked, Cummins poured billions into research and development, chasing efficiency, cleaner power, and smarter machines. As the world began shifting towards sustainability, Cummins pivoted not by abandoning engines, but by evolving them. They began to explore hybrid power systems, alternative fuels, hydrogen technology, and emissions-free solutions without giving up the raw power their customers relied on. They understood that the future was not just electric, it was diverse, flexible, and adaptable. So when the world saw the first whispers of Cummins's new project, most people were caught off guard. There were no leaks, no teasers, no hints, just silence. And then suddenly the X15N engine was announced, a machine designed for the clean fuel future, a natural gas engine that was so powerful and efficient that even electric proponents had to pause. Not because it looked different, but because it challenged the very narrative of what clean transport was supposed to be. But the story is not just about an engine, it is about a company that saw the writing on the wall before anyone else. While everyone else was racing toward batteries and electric grids, Cummins quietly asked a different question. What if there was another way? What if we could have all the benefits of clean energy without the limitations of electric vehicles? And from that question came an answer that has now taken the form of one of the most important engineering achievements in years. The X15N engine is more than a product. It is the culmination of decades of forward-thinking engineering and the living proof that sometimes the best innovation is not abandoning the past, but transforming it into the future. Now, with the spotlight squarely on them, Cummins has made it clear that they are not just here to compete with electric vehicles. They are here to provide a realistic, clean, and powerful alternative. And for the industries that rely on massive fleets, long-distance hauling, and heavy-duty logistics, this new option could not have come at a better time. Electric might work for your daily commute, but the world of transport is much bigger than cars, and Cummins has built an engine to prove it. What exactly makes the X15N so revolutionary, and how is it already changing the minds of even the biggest electric vehicle supporters? The birth of the X15N, power meets clean fuel. The X15N engine did not appear out of nowhere. It was the product of years of research development and a deliberate shift in how Cummins approached engine technology. The company knew that the global conversation had changed. No longer was it enough for an engine to be powerful or even fuel efficient. The demands of modern transportation had evolved. Policymakers, regulators, and the public were now asking for something that once seemed impossible: raw mechanical power with near-zero emissions. That paradox led Cummins engineers to imagine an engine that could deliver traditional output while being cleaner than ever before, and so began the development of a natural gas engine unlike anything that had come before it. Named the X15N, the engine was quietly developed with a focus on fleet operators, governments, and commercial buyers who needed real-world solutions, not theoretical promises. And the first thing Cummins did was abandon the idea that diesel was the only way to get high torque and horsepower in a heavy-duty vehicle. They looked to natural gas not as a secondary option, but as a future-ready fuel source. Compressed natural gas and renewable natural gas offered the kind of scalability and infrastructure compatibility that many electric and hydrogen systems still lacked. And unlike battery-powered trucks, which struggled with long-haul weight and recharging downtime, the X15N could run efficiently for hours and be refueled in minutes. But the real genius of the X15N lies in its versatility. It was designed to fit directly into existing truck chassis, with only minor modifications. This meant fleet operators could adopt it without overhauling their entire vehicle systems. For companies running hundreds of trucks, this was a major win. The cost of replacing every vehicle in a fleet with an electric truck was not just expensive, it was operationally disruptive. Cummins offered a cleaner way forward that did not require businesses to pause. They could upgrade their engines, keep their trucks, and move into the future on their terms. In terms of output, the X15N delivers up to 500 horsepower. That alone puts it on par with some of the most powerful diesel engines on the market. But power is only half the equation. What makes this engine truly transformative is its ability to maintain that level of performance while running on renewable fuel. This opens a pathway not only to carbon neutrality, but in some cases even to net negative emissions when paired with certain renewable gas sources. And all of this is happening without sacrificing reliability, which has always been a key concern for long-haul logistics and commercial trucking. Cummins also built the engine with digital integration in mind. A smart engine control module constantly monitors fuel input load torque, output, and temperature to ensure optimal performance. If anything deviates from the norm, the system self-corrects. Drivers are given real-time feedback. Fleet managers can track engine health remotely. The result is a powertrain that is not just strong but intelligent. This level of connectivity has already proven to reduce unexpected breakdowns and improve preventative maintenance planning. In the logistics industry, where downtime can cost thousands per day, this is more than a bonus, it is a strategic advantage. And yet, for all its complexity, the engine remains surprisingly simple to maintain. It avoids many of the thermal management issues that plague electric drivetrains, especially under heavy use. It does not require massive cooling systems or sensitive electronics vulnerable to heat or cold. Mechanics trained in traditional engine maintenance can work on the X15N with only a short certification course. This alone makes adoption easier in markets where access to EV-trained technicians remains scarce. From an economic standpoint, the benefits are stacking up. Fuel costs drop immediately when switching from diesel to natural gas. With RNG, the savings can be even greater, especially when governments offer tax incentives for low-emission fleets. Maintenance costs are lower, and service intervals are longer. For fleet operators struggling with razor-thin margins, these savings are not just helpful. They are the difference between staying competitive and shutting down. Then there is the bigger picture. Cities are cracking down on diesel. Port authorities are banning high-emission trucks. Governments are setting stricter targets every year. Many fleet operators do not want to wait for EV technology to mature or for hydrogen infrastructure to appear. They need answers today, and Cummins has handed them one. The X15N is not trying to replace electric trucks in every segment. It is not trying to be flashy or headline-grabbing. What it is trying to be is realistic, and that realism is exactly why it is shaking the foundations of the EV market. Because as much as people love the idea of a battery-powered future, not every industry can wait for one. Not every road leads to a charger. Not every load can afford a pause. If Cummins has built something this clean, this powerful, and this ready for the road, then why is it not already everywhere? Why this engine could beat electric trucks at their own game. When most people think about the future of clean transportation, their minds jump straight to electric vehicles. Sleek designs, silent rides, instant torque. The narrative has been carefully built to make EVs feel like the only path forward. But the reality on the ground is far messier. Charging infrastructure remains limited. Battery production still relies on rare minerals. And for heavy-duty trucks that carry thousands of pounds over hundreds of miles, electric just does not make sense yet. This is the uncomfortable truth the industry has been trying to ignore. But Cummins chose to confront it head-on. The X15N was never meant to replace Tesla semis or undercut battery-powered delivery vans. Instead, it quietly aimed at a different segment altogether. The backbone of global logistics, the long-haul trucks that move goods between cities, the construction vehicles that operate in remote sites, the buses that must run all day with barely a break. These are the workhorses of modern life, and they have a very different set of needs. They require engines that do not just run clean, but also run long, run cheap, and run without fail. This is where the X15N stands alone. Unlike battery-powered trucks, which often need hours to recharge, or special charging stations, the X15N can refuel at any CNG or RNG station in minutes. That alone transforms fleet operations. A truck that spends less time off the road, makes more deliveries, carries more loads, and generates more revenue. That efficiency gap is hard for electric trucks to close. And while EV advocates often talk about savings over time, they cannot compete with the immediate cost reduction that comes from natural gas prices compared to diesel. Then there is the weight problem. Batteries are heavy. In the world of commercial trucking, every pound of battery reduces payload. This means either lighter cargo or fewer deliveries per trip. For companies managing tight delivery schedules and client contracts, that trade-off is a problem. The X15N, with its lighter natural gas system, does not create that issue. Trucks can carry full loads without compromising fuel efficiency or breaking emission laws. But perhaps the most disruptive part of the X15N engine is not what it replaces, but what it unlocks. Because this engine is not just designed to work today, it is built for the fuel of tomorrow. Cummins knew that any new engine introduced in this decade would have to last for at least the next 20 years. That meant it could not rely on one type of fuel. The X15N is not tied to just CNG. It can already run on RNG. And with slight upgrades, it is also compatible with hydrogen. This creates a flexibility that no electric truck can offer. While EVs are tied to lithium and cobalt and charging grids, the X15N can follow whatever clean fuel becomes dominant next. This makes it not just a machine, but an insurance policy for fleet managers. They are no longer betting everything on one technology. They are not waiting for new infrastructure to be built. They can switch fuels as needed, adapt their operations, and stay compliant with future regulations without replacing their entire fleets. In an era of rapid change, that kind of flexibility is priceless. Another key point often overlooked is maintenance. Electric vehicles may have fewer moving parts, but when they break, the repairs are complex and expensive. The X15N uses familiar systems, enhanced with smart monitoring tools, making it easy to service without waiting for specialized technicians or proprietary tools. For long-haul drivers, that is a lifesaver. No one wants to be stuck on a highway with a failed EV battery pack. The X15N reduces that risk and gives drivers confidence that their vehicle can handle the road, no matter where it leads. Governments are also taking notice. Incentives are not just flowing toward electric anymore. Programs across the United States, Europe, and Asia are now including natural gas and RNG-powered trucks in their green energy transition plans. Fleet operators that invest in the X15N can take advantage of tax credits, fuel subsidies, and green vehicle certifications. This brings the upfront cost down and the return on investment up. There is also growing awareness about the life cycle emissions of electric vehicles. Building batteries, shipping rare materials, and producing electricity from non-renewable sources all add up. While EVs emit nothing at the tailpipe, their total environmental cost can still be significant. By contrast, RNG-powered engines like the X15N can achieve net zero or even negative emissions, depending on the fuel source. That is not just clean, that is transformative. Cummins also knew that public perception would play a major role. So instead of launching a flashy campaign or betting on consumer hype, they let performance speak for itself. Early adopters reported smoother rides, lower fuel costs, and fewer mechanical issues. Drivers appreciated the familiar handling. Fleet managers praised the back-end monitoring. Environmental experts began to reevaluate what a clean engine really looks like. By the time the broader market took notice, Cummins had already delivered a full package. Power, efficiency, flexibility, and environmental compliance, all wrapped in one solution. The X15N was not just catching up to electric. In many ways, it was pulling ahead. With demand rising and major logistics companies placing bulk orders, the industry is beginning to realize that clean energy does not have to mean compromise. It can mean options. It can mean better outcomes. And for those still on the fence, the numbers do not lie. The X15N is not a backup plan. It might just be the main event. So what happens when this engine starts appearing in every fleet, every route, every country? The road ahead for Cummins and the industry. As the X15N engine gains traction across fleets and highways, Cummins is not sitting back to celebrate. Instead, it is already thinking far ahead. The company's long-term vision reaches beyond natural gas, eyeing hybrid powertrains, hydrogen combustion, and eventually full-scale electrification with modular, adaptable platforms. What makes the X15N so important is not just what it can do now, but what it represents. A transitional tool that can carry an entire industry through a period of uncertainty. In a world where regulations, fuel access, and infrastructure vary wildly from country to country, Cummins is offering something that works today while preparing for tomorrow. Pilot programs are underway on 4 continents. In India, trucks fitted with the X15N are hauling goods across rural highways and congested city roads. In the United States, long-haul freight companies are testing the engine in extreme cold and desert heat. Real-time data collected from these routes is being analyzed to identify wear patterns, mileage thresholds, and optimal maintenance intervals. This isn't just field testing. It's a rolling laboratory designed to improve reliability before mass adoption. The goal is simple: create an engine that can serve 15 years with minimal issues across varied road conditions and fuel sources. Scaling is the next step. Cummins has already begun adapting the X15N for smaller commercial vehicles. From garbage trucks to airport shuttles, the idea is to spread this clean technology beyond just massive long haulers. The same core architecture can be retooled to suit local transit buses, delivery fleets, and even public utility vehicles. This opens up new markets and allows governments to move toward their sustainability targets without overhauling their entire infrastructure. There are still major challenges ahead. Hydrogen is expensive, and fueling networks are sparse. RNG requires sustained investment in biogas facilities. Some countries are still dependent on diesel simply because it's what their logistics network was built around. Cummins understands these limitations, which is why it's pushing forward with a full-service model. That includes cloud-based tracking for real-time diagnostics, mobile response teams that can service vehicles remotely, and strategic partnerships with fuel suppliers to ensure engines never outrun their infrastructure. The competition is fierce. Tesla's battery-driven trucks dominate headlines, and Toyota continues to develop hydrogen power cells. But Cummins has quietly carved out a third lane, one that balances practicality with innovation. They are not rejecting electricity or hydrogen. They are embracing everything that works. That means not waiting for the perfect future, but building the best possible present. In the end, the real power of the X15N is not just in horsepower or torque. It is in trust. The kind of trust built from 100 years of keeping the world's freight moving. With this engine, Cummins isn't just driving trucks forward. He's steering the entire future of transport. The X15N engine may look like just another big block of metal at first glance, but beneath the surface, it represents one of the most radical shifts in heavy-duty transport in decades. While others wait for perfect infrastructure or ideal policies, Cummins has built an engine that works now. The question is, will the world be bold enough to use it?